A fresh wave of tariffs has gone into effect starting September 1 between China and the United States. China began imposing its own new set of tariffs on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods, which is a response to the additional 15% tariffs on around $300 billion worth of Chinese goods that U.S. President Donald Trump has announced earlier, and it takes effect at the exact same dates that the U.S. tariffs come into force. China has lodged a case against the United States with the World Trade Organization over the latest tariffs U.S. has imposed. China's Ministry of Commerce said China will firmly defend its legal rights under WTO rules, and take actions to protect the multilateral trading system. The ongoing trade war between the world's two largest economies has rattled world markets and stoked fears of a global economic slowdown. IMF deputy head urged both parties to work together to reach a resolution.
The view of the IMF is that no winner from this trade war. All the concerned parties should return to the tables that were based on the multilateral regimes, and these regimes is supported by rule-based and based on more transparent, open, and equitable manners, so that each of us can contribute it to the solutions on that basis.
More than two-thirds of the consumer goods the United States imports from China now face higher taxes. The latest round of tariffs are potentially raising prices Americans pay for some clothes, shoes, sporting goods and holiday gifts. After September 1, 87% of textiles and clothing and 52% of shoes are subject to import taxes. The new tariffs also tax consumers $52 billion worth of tech products. Analysts say increased tariffs lead to rising uncertainties and reduce expenditures. Data from the University of Michigan shows the U.S. Consumer Confidence Index fell 8.6 to 89.8 in August, which is the biggest monthly decline since December 2012. Meanwhile, companies rely on manufacturing in China have been hugely affected by increased tariffs on Chinese imports.
This has made it very nerve-wracking because startups are traditionally very, thin in terms of their, spending power. And so any increase, whether it's a few percentage points in their, yearly expenditure, is going to make a big difference. Tremendously worrisome for a lot of the newer entrants in the autonomous vehicle space. Right now, there's very little infrastructure in battery manufacturing for these new self-driving car startups outside of China.
And some U.S. entrepreneurs said they are afraid that the ongoing trade dispute will cause further damage to the U.S. economy.
I do think it's very clear that there's a cost to the U.S. economy and the U.S. consumer from the tariffs that the president has proposed.
I think it's unrealistic to ask for businesses to just leave China. At this moment in time, it's a global economy. All businesses are connected. And I think it would hurt both countries if they did that. There are repercussions.
Chinese Vice Premier Liu He spoke on the phone on Thursday with U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. And they agreed to hold their 13th round of high-level talks in Washington in October. They also agreed to keep in touch at the working level in the meantime.
At a press conference just a day after making an official announcement on withdrawing the bill, Carrie Lam was repeatedly asked why it took so long for her to make the decision.
To answer your question about whether my announcement on actions yesterday were too little, too late, I suggest, and I hope very much, that this will be looked at in context. I have announced a package of 4 actions. So each of those actions requires a process of deliberation. And taken together, I hope that they would provide a basis for a dialogue and help Hong Kong to break the current impasse.
Lam stressed that the withdrawal of the bill does not require any vote or debate when it comes before the Legislative Council next month. Meanwhile, she also elaborated on the 4 actions she proposed on Wednesday. She said she and her team would set up a dialogue platform and visit communities. This would offer the chance for people from different classes and positions to explore solutions.
We have to have dialogue with the residents of the public. I have used some examples. For example, right now we have some housing issues, land issues, land shortage, and opportunities for the younger generations, social mobilities, public welfare, and participation in government decisions, etc. But I believe with this dialogue platform, we could get to hear more opinions from the public.
Following Lam's announcement of the withdrawal of the bill, some protesters are still calling for all their demands to be met, including an independent inquiry into police use of force. But Lam said on Thursday that the existing body dealing with complaints about the police was credible enough to handle the probe.
Artificial intelligence, 5G, and space navigation. The latest high-tech products are under the spotlight at the ongoing 2019 China-Arab States Expo.
So through this VR system, you can watch the process of weather changes monitored by the very advanced Fengyun meteorological satellites. But there is much more to explore here.
Currently, our newly developed big data platform for Belt and Road Tech Cooperation is serving institutions, enterprises, and governmental organizations from 23 countries within the initiative. Our platform includes the tech supplies and demands from these countries in 8 major industries such as AI, smart transportation, and Internet of Things.
We have already cooperated with Egypt. They orders many lights and the control system for the agriculture from us, and we have a very nice cooperation with them. And our control system can trace the life cycle of these vegetables. You can just check that via the mobile phone apps, so you can check when the vegetables can grow up, and you can just pick them up.
And this kind of business matching has become routine, and this is now the 4th edition of the expo, held every 2 years in Ningxia. Last year, bilateral trade between China and Arab countries enjoyed a 28% growth year-on-year, reaching more than $240 billion, and there is huge potential looking ahead.
At least, I think, 1,000 Chinese companies working in Algeria. And we are working to develop more, to have more companies working in Algeria in any fields, and especially in high-tech and technologies. We had a cooperation with Huawei, with ZTE, with the other Chinese companies, especially in telecommunication.
China is our biggest economic and trade partner, and we are the 3rd Arabic countries, like after Saudi Arabia and the Emirates, as a partner for trade partner for China. Therefore, it's very important for us to search new areas of cooperation. One of the areas which is very important it is agriculture. We are an agriculture country.
Officials and businessmen from some 90 countries are at the 4-day expo, which includes multiple exhibitions and meetings. A large number of collaboration plans and deals are also expected to come out very soon.
Colours now firmly nailed to Britain's Brexit mast. Divisions as raucous on the streets as they are inside Parliament. With his control over Brexit stripped away, Prime Minister Boris Johnson accused the opposition of wrecking his EU Brexit negotiations and challenged them to a general election. The government lost control of Parliament by 27 votes, allowing MPs to begin the process of outlawing a no-deal Brexit, seriously tying Johnson's hands. The Rebel Alliance did it with the backing of 21 MPs from Johnson's own party. That triggered a government purge of 21 of Parliament's most senior Conservatives, including 2 former Chancellors of the Exchequer and even the grandson of Britain's famous wartime leader Winston Churchill.
Battered and bruised, Boris Johnson is still looking for a general election to revive his fortunes, while members of Parliament are well on their way to imposing a ban on a no-deal Brexit. If they're quick, there could still be a general election. But who'll win and what difference it'll make to the Brexit process? A mystery. Brexit in Britain doesn't give up its secrets lightly.
The Australian economy has recorded its weakest growth in a decade. Official data showed on Wednesday that the country's GDP growth rose just 1.4% year-on-year in the second quarter. That's a 0.4% growth quarter by quarter. The Australian Bureau of Statistics said the small increase was driven by mining exports and government spending. Australia has avoided recession for almost 28 years, but Wednesday's figures will fuel concerns about the economic outlook, with growth falling to its lowest levels since the global financial crisis in 2009. Analysts expect the Reserve Bank of Australia to further cut interest rates in the coming months to help boost the economy.